Episode 18, the episode dedicated to Kyle Busch, the greatest NASCAR driver in history.
He is better than Jeff Gordon, isn't he?
Well, better than Jeff Gordon, not history. Dale Earnhardt's better, of course. Thank you all for listening to episode 17, Miller Lite, a beer league story. I am Gary, here with my co-host.
Bear.
And?
I don't have that much energy this morning. Brandon.
Thanks to Wes Anderson for Moments in Time. Check him out at Wes Anderson Music on Facebook and give him a follow on Twitter at Songs by Wes. Thank you to All Wear Clothing, the official merchandise provider for Over the Line Sports Podcast. If you want to do business with him, mention Over the Line Sports Podcast and the owner, Brandon, not the Burger King fart machine over here. We'll give you a great deal on your clothing needs. Thanks to Crandall's Quality Lawn Care. Check him out on Facebook at Crandall's Quality Lawn Care. You can also call him or text him, 419-704-5471. Serves the Toledo and surrounding area. Nowhere else. Mention Over the Line Sports Podcast, and Sean will give you a discount on services. Also, thank you to Verizon, who is a true technology business partner who helps local businesses deploy technologies that positively impact operations and can increase revenue for the company. At Verizon, we do not wait for the future. We build it. Go to their website to get in touch with a sales rep in your area. Special thanks to Tim and Stephanie on that. Again, Bear, that great credit score. I love it.
Is that 819? Something like that?
812, 819, something like that.
Along those lines.
Brandon's is still somewhere down in the 500s. But you know, Brandon, how you can get that good credit score up?
No, tell me.
I will. So visit Cassandra at PNC, who will help you with your banking needs, whether it be loans, credit cards, personal banking. She's there to help. Give her a call at 419-877-0634. So, guys, do we know the results of the Super Showdown? I did not take the records. Bear,
Yeah.
I assume you have it. You want to give us kind of an update on the records? We can talk a little bit about Super Showdown.
Yeah, so I actually ended up watching this last Sunday evening, like mid-football game around the 4 o'clock. So I didn't watch it last Saturday morning when it was on at, 5 a.m. or whatever it was last week because they were in Australia. But
Well, we were busy recording, too.
Well, I mean, and we weren't supposed to watch it because you said we couldn't. And then I just got busy the rest of Saturday, so it didn't really matter. I ended up watching it Sunday.
You were drunk right after the show.
I mean, I'm always drunk, so I could be drunk right now. You don't know if I'm hungover from last night. You
Could
don't
be.
know what I did. You don't know my life, bruh.
That's okay.
All right. So, anyways, I thought it was actually a fairly good show. I think, as I said 100 times, that all the faces would win, and that ended up not happening, which was decent. It was a good old little swerve, bro, as Vince Russo would say. But it was most of the faces did win. We saw that, to start off, you guys both picked Becky, and this was my favorite one because I won taking Charlotte, even though she didn't win the belt, but she won via disqualification, which was my always favorite way to win these. And I was like, off and running. And I think I ended up winning the first 6. Brandon ended up with 4 right, shockingly. Gary, you had 7 right, and I had 8 right. So, I mean, I thought that was pretty good besides Brandon, but... as we got halfway through and I kept telling him that, all faces were going to be, he goes, I'm going all heels. Oh, man.
Yeah, and who won the match against SmackDown? The Miz.
Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan won face, and AJ Styles won.
And you
face.
didn't take
Okay,
Daniel
well-
Bryan, did you?
Okay, well, I'm saying I picked 2 heels
Okay, and then
and 2 face ones.
Okay,
So
I didn't say that I was correct about that. I'm just saying I thought that was odd when that happened. I did not expect that. Once
yeah,
AJ,
and you said I was crazy that I'm just saying you said I was crazy that 2 heels were going to win, but 2 faces
they
won.
set up Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles, but the star right now is the Miz and what he's doing with that little rivalry going on. It's great.
yeah, and I think that he'll probably come out and interrupt that match in some way, shape, or form to get Bryan to lose. I don't think he'll win the belt, and that's going to be a crown jewel, I think. If I recall. I don't really know how they're going to settle that up. I didn't watch Raw this last Monday, so I don't know, and I didn't watch SmackDown either, shockingly. But I don't know if they set any of that up. Maybe you guys can entertain me on that one before we get into other matches on the card.
Well, let's talk about that. I really want to get into Triple H, Undertaker, what happened there.
Okay.
Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so, I mean, that was a great match. I think that with, I thought that Triple H was going to lose that match, and he ended up winning. Hopefully I'm not spoiling this for anyone who for some reason hasn't watched this in a week yet. But yeah, Triple H ended up winning with the help of Shawn Michaels quite a bit, which pushes, the storyline further for them. It was a really good match. The story was told great. They went around the arena. They made it no disqualification before it started. Kane and Shawn Michaels both got involved quite a bit, beat each other up. Everyone got beat up. They came in towards the end, and I think Undertaker gave him a tombstone, if I recall. Triple H kicked out. They're coming towards the end of the match. Kane got super kicked by Shawn. They ended up, Shawn came in the ring, super kicked Undertaker. I think Triple H then gave him the pedigree. That was over, which shocked me. I really thought Undertaker was going to win and this was going to be over. Triple H finally beat Undertaker, so it was a big thing. Afterwards, they were both there ready to fight. Kane and Undertaker were in the corner, injured. So be it. Triple H helped them up. They all went around, raised each other's hands, walked all the way around the ring to every portion of the crowd as they're all cheering, like, okay, this is it. And then out of nowhere, Undertaker and Kane turned on him. And that probably was the best part of everything. I did not see that coming. Usually now you can kind of see what's going to happen, and did not expect that. So it just means that they're going to keep pushing and pushing, and the rivalry is going to go here, and Shawn and Triple H are going to be back in the ring, and Undertaker and Kane will. And I don't know if they're doing it just for these shows that are around the world, maybe. I would imagine, because Crown Jewel's in Saudi Arabia, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking that's what's going to happen. And regardless, I thought it was a great pay-per-view. A lot of good matches on the card. I think my favorite was Cedric and whoever that Australian dude he fought. I don't know what his name is, but that was a hell of a match.
Buddy Murphy, yeah.
Buddy Murphy,
Yep.
sorry.
Which kind of made me mad. I think I texted you, Gary. I didn't realize he was from Australia. I would have freaking picked him.
I saw the same thing. I was saying the same exact thing. And quickly to go on what you're saying, pretty much called this, that what was going to happen, that somehow I thought it was going to be the other way around, honestly. I thought that Taker was going to win, like we said, and that Michaels and Triple H were going to turn on them. But then I thought about it. I'm like, no, this makes the most sense. You got to make them face with Michaels coming back. But called it tag match against each other. DX against Brothers of Destruction at Crown Jewel. Knew it was going to happen. There's more talk now that this is not just a one-off for Michaels. I don't know if he's going to be Survivor Series. We'll see how this one goes. But definitely WrestleMania 35, there's talk that that's going to happen. Not sure against who yet, but we'll see that develop. I was okay with it. He looked kind of slow, but I don't know if he's just playing it. He's 54 years old, don't get me wrong, but he looked just kind of slow and off. So did Kane, and the only one that looked like he could carry anything was Triple H. Still.
Yeah.
That's just how he is, and hopefully that they have a good match. I want to see what Michaels does. I'm going to watch that live. I don't know what time it'll be on. I don't care. That's a big deal for me, being a Shawn Michaels fan, number one all time for me. I'm going to watch that, see what happens. It's going to be the main. I think we can all agree that'll be the main for that card, and should be interesting. And I can't remember what match it was, but when I texted you guys, they're like, did you just see him go off the plastic chair? I didn't realize they had plastic chairs in the crowd.
That had to kill.
That was, and you guys said that, and I was wide. I was like, they are all plastic chairs. Like,
Right.
the whole front was. I was like, how cheap is that? Good God.
Australia, that's it for you.
So cheap.
I don't want to kill anybody. But to go back to what you were saying, I wanted to discuss that. So on SmackDown, Miz TV had a thing with Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles right before AJ Styles fought Shelton, which, by the way, was a great match. If you haven't seen it, check it out. And they just basically taunted Miz. So he's going to stay around and, so like you said, somehow going to interfere in that match, and he's going to fight whoever wins. So I think they keep it on AJ, like we said. Miz, he wants the title shot next, so he could get it at Rumble or somewhere else. I thought that he could potentially win the Rumble, but I think that's going to be more reserved for Raw now, as seeing how this is kind of just playing itself out. I don't know what happens or who would win the Rumble, like Braun Strowman again maybe to go up against Roman. We don't know. We'll see. Or, like we said, Dwayne could come back and win the Rumble. He's the favorite to win the Rumble and then go fight Roman at WrestleMania, which, whatever.
I just don't think will happen. I think they're too deep into that family aspect that they wouldn't do it. But who knows? We'll see.
They could do it to try to say that he's basically trash and he'll never be Dwayne. Dwayne, how he does that. But
yeah, but Vince loves Roman too much. I just don't see it happening.
Right. Because he'll still be
baby.
he'll still be the heel going into that. No matter what, he's going to be the heel. So, which, by the way, later on we're going to cover the most heat and biggest pops in history for us. So, interesting card. I agree with you, Bear. I enjoyed it. I really did.
Yeah.
I didn't watch it until Sunday either, and I went right to the main event. That's all I cared about. That's what I want to see. There's so many things going on. I want to see how they did AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. By the way, Samoa Joe fought Jeff Hardy this week and lost in referee stoppage. So Hardy is in the World Cup the soccer match qualifier. The Jeff Hardys of the world.
Did you see who else is in that World Cup final?
Kurt Angle,
the
Conquistador.
The Conquistador.
Oh, you didn't see it. They had a gimmick battle royal pretty much, and like representing all these countries. And Corbin comes out, and I didn't know what was going on. And then I see the Conquistador. I don't think anything of anything. And they have all these random people from all over, like, that you've never heard of. And then Baron Corbin's like, and representing the USA, me, Baron Corbin. So he throws everybody out. Right in the beginning of the match, the Conquistador just slides out of the ring and waits. And Corbin thinks he wins, hops up there, cheering, doing all this stuff all the way around. Conquistador comes in, starts dancing around, doing his thing, and then does 3 German suplexes. I'm like, oh, it's Angle. And then he does the Angle slam and throws him. And then he's just dancing around, doing an Olay dance around the ring, takes his mask off. So Angle's in the qualifier. Cena is in the qualifier as well, right?
Yeah, I think he's automatically in. They, they automatically. Put
I thought he beat somebody.
Before we go further, can we talk about his hair?
Oh yes,
He looks like True Lies. He looks like Arnold in True Lies. I'm telling you,
he
watch
does,
True
or he
Lies.
looks like a jacked up Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. What did I say?
You said JBL.
Yeah, he does. He looked like JBL. Yeah, it did. It was really like that's what it was because he like came out and I was like, what in the hell? I was like, he kind of looks like JBL facing us. Obviously, when he turns around, he's got that bald spot, and JBL does not. But that was pretty interesting to me. And on top of that, everyone said that he was toned down and all of this, and he looked exactly the same. So he did not look any
He's
different.
skinny. He does look skinny.
He looked a little skinny,
Yeah,
but
I didn't see it.
I didn't see
didn't.
much.
Yeah, it's because that hair is nice and full.
Maybe that's why I was just staring at it. Yeah, I was like, what in the world?
But he did grow it out for a
And
movie.
then what did he do at the end? His Chinese trick thing?
Yeah, the strike.
I don't. Yeah, Corey Graves called it, and I didn't know what it was.
By the way, that movie that he's in it with Jackie Chan, and he's been living with Jackie Chan for.
Yeah,
Are
you serious?
That's what
Yeah.
they said. That's what they said on the pay per view that he's been living with Jackie Chan in China with the movie and all that, and he's been like training with him and everything. So maybe that's why he grew his hair out. I don't know. It was quite interesting though. I mean, it looked really weird. I don't know.
That is interesting. So with that World Cup, like we talked about the World Cup. So
you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of Brian Urlacher growing his hair back
Yeah.
out. That's what it reminds me. I knew it was something.
all right, so
Sorry.
You're right. Cena is in as a participant. Kurt Angle won the Battle Royal as the Conquistador. Jeff Hardy beat Samoa Joe to get in, and then Randy Orton beat the Big Show. So those 4 are in right now. We got 4 more coming on. So far, the card for Crown Jewel on November 2nd. Roman Reigns against Lesnar against Strowman. Triple threat for the Universal title. AJ Styles against Daniel Bryan for the WWE Championship. And then the return of DX against the Brothers of Destruction tag team match. So
And when's Crown Jewel? November 2nd?
second. Yeah, I just said that.
Sorry, I wasn't listening.
I
I
know.
was grabbing
But
another sheet.
That happens to me all the time where I'm just like, what did you guys say?
Well, and I got it right at least. So.
Yeah, you did. Congratulations.
Is it one of those that is going to be on at an odd time though because it's in Saudi Arabia?
It'll be a Friday, so
Yeah, it's a Friday.
yeah, it'll be a weird time.
We're going to have to check it out. I don't know the start time. It doesn't have anything on here yet, but we will check that out.
Okay. Yeah, well, good. I mean, we would have Stat Guy do it, but he still must be hungover from Wednesday, so
Yeah, he's not here.
I don't know why he's not here in the morning. Did we not tell him that he's supposed to show up on Saturday mornings too?
He's pretty much on sports, not wrestling, so maybe I should
I
forewarn
mean, we
him.
still need stats though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We need stats.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah. So I'll be pretty excited for Crown Jewel. I'll probably watch that on a Sunday afternoon too, not on Friday, because some of us have to work for a living. Can't just lose our jobs here at WWE. So step your game up. Go back to Sunday nights at 7:00. Let's get that taken care of, please.
So the start time is actually this isn't bad. It's gonna start at noon on a
Okay,
Friday.
I mean, I'm still at work, so
That's awesome. So
Sweet.
right when the wife gets home, I'll be able to turn it on and be able to watch it. So I'll watch it Friday night.
you'll probably spoil everything like you normally do.
Well, I unfortunately have the WWE update, so I got to turn that off, so I don't know what happens.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, they actually for the last one they didn't send mine, and I have them, and I didn't turn it off. So I don't know if they just didn't send it because of that, or because I was trying not to look, because I watched it, but at that point I just didn't care anymore. But I, just random scroll through Twitter or anywhere else, and ESPN didn't see anything, so they must have been holding that off quite a bit from what I get out of that.
No, I'll stay off the group text when I'm watching it, Gary. I think you said when did you say you're gonna watch it Friday? So
But it'll be probably late at night because
Yeah.
I'll be working. So
So no, I won't spoil anything. Don't worry.
all
It's all
right.
good.
So Let's just go quickly into UFC. How did we do on our picks there, first off, and then we'll get into the craziness that ensued at the end.
Well, you guys went 4-1, and I went 5-0. Brandon lost on Pettis, and
I lost on
Gary
Connor.
lost on Connor. I went 5-0. I had Watterson by decision, nailed that one. Lewis by TKO in the first. He won by third round KO and gave the absolute greatest interview of all time afterwards. That man should be president.
Is that the guy that said something about his balls being hot?
Yeah, that's well, because after the fight, we're sitting there, we were at Nate's and we were watching, and he took his shorts off. I'm like, why did he just take his shorts off? What is going on? So the first thing Rogan says is, Derek, why'd you take your shorts off? He goes, because my balls was hot. And then Joe Rogan, I understand. Fantastic. He gave a great interview. If you haven't seen that yet, go look it up. I mean, you need to find that interview with Derek Lewis at UFC 223. Is that 229? Sorry. UFC 229. So go ahead and look that interview up if you haven't seen it yet, because it is hilarious. That dude just put on a great interview. And also, it was announced on Wednesday that he is going to be fighting for the title against Daniel Cormier. Which one is that, 228?
229. This was just 228.
And that should be, I think that's November 3rd, right? The day after Crown Jewel.
Yes, it's a Saturday. Yep, November 3rd.
Which he also said in his interview he didn't have the cardio and he needs to, quote unquote, sit his black ass down before he gets another fight. So this is less than a month. I'm surprised they're turning him around this fast to fight Cormier. Obviously, we'll do we'll get there and preview that when we get there. But I think Cormier is going to whoop his ass, just lay and pray on him. Best wrestler in the game. That's probably going to happen. Third fight of the night, Reyes ended up beating OSP. First round KO.
What did we call that? When did we say? Or what did we say for finish?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you guys gave finishes. If you did,
I gave finishes.
I didn't write them down.
You
Sorry. I had Reyes by KO. He won by decision at the bell, but he knocked OSP out. He didn't answer
At the bell?
Yes, in the third round. He should have won that fight by KO, and they gave it by decision because he stood up. But they said if you get knocked out before the bell, and when the bell rings, if you don't answer it and you're not up, it's a knockout. So at no point that should have been a decision. So they should have given him the knockout. It was a bad call on the ref's part there because, like you said, it doesn't matter. He was going to win the fight. Actually, yeah, he was going to win the fight anyways. He was beating him up pretty good. Derek Lewis was the one who was getting his ass whipped, and it was a great comeback and knocked him out with an awesome punch. The fourth fight, Ferguson and Pettis, was an amazing fight. They were just brawling with each other, going to the ground, getting back up, just trading. Pettis was hitting him. Ferguson was hitting back. Unfortunately, Pettis broke his hand at the end of the second round, so he couldn't continue. His longtime coach, Duke Rufus, actually called the fight for him. He wanted to keep going, but he said, dude, it's your career. You have to do it. Pettis agreed and ended up throwing in the towel. They had a lot of good talk coming up to this fight, and Ferguson was very cool about it. They went up and talked about it, said sorry about your hand and all that, and that was great. So Ferguson ended up winning.
Respect, unlike the main event.
Very respectful. And then, we get to the main event. I had Khabib by decision, Khabib, whatever. He ended up winning by fourth round rear naked choke on Connor as he tapped out. And then after the fight, all shit just went crazy.
Before you go into that, I didn't see anything. So how did that fight go?
He pretty much dominated him the entire fight. Connor got some good strikes in when they stood, but just like I said, he took him down a lot. He wrestled with him. I knew it was going to happen. That was the formula he needed to win. He's one of the best in the world on the ground. He did that. When he stood, he actually hit Connor with a few good shots. Connor hit him with a few good shots. He looked weary, but he didn't look like he was ever rocked on some of his shots.
So, I hope a surprise punch knockout.
It could have happened. I mean, like I said, Connor hit him with a few good shots, and like you said, it's hard to tell.
Yeah.
He wasn't. It wasn't one of those where he got hit on the chin and was wobbling. He did get hit a couple times, and then took Connor down, which also shows sometimes that you got hurt when you got punched. If you go to take a guy down right after you get hit, I mean, it's just human nature to recover a little bit after you do. So then after the fight, we had everything ensue. Khabib held the choke a little bit long, got up, started yelling at Connor, spit on him as Connor lay.
He spit on him.
He spit at him, on him, whatever. It was right there as Herb Dean was still holding him off, and then Khabib jumped in and went after Dylan Bacentis, Connor's his jiu-jitsu coach, who's been also talking shit the entire time. I mean, straight jumped on him out of the cage.
I saw that.
Beat him up. As that happened, Khabib's people started coming, and I've seen a few coming into the ring, and I've seen a few different shots of that where one of the guys who shouldn't be coming into the ring in the first place
jumped over the cage,
and Connor swings at him, and that's what they said started it. Well, the dude shouldn't be getting into the cage. Connor's trying to protect himself. Dude just got choked out in a long fight. So as he's doing that, then you got this guy coming in trying to fight him. Then you got the other two guys coming from behind sucker punching him. I thought it was a trashy move. If you're going to be a champion in this sport, you can't do crap like that. You have to. I understand that there's differences, and some people think things go too personal and they can't take it. But Connor's selling fights, and people need to understand that. I understand that there was a bus incident where he was throwing stuff. That's not selling a fight. That's him being a jackass. He got in trouble for that. He got charges pressed. He's still battling a lot of lawsuits. He hurt people. He hurt fighters. There's still a lot going on. That doesn't make up for the fact that Khabib needs to jump into the crowd and start just mass brawls. And I'm not talking just with them. I'm talking with the fans, everything. Dana didn't put the belt on him because they were going to throw shit into the ring. It's exactly what he said. So they walked him out with all the security, and what'd they do? Everyone's throwing beer and shit at him. I saw all the Twitter. I was up till 3:30 in the morning watching all the Twitter fights. Because it was insane. Everything outside of Vegas was nuts. The governor had to leave. The governor of Nevada was at that fight. They had to get escorted out and run out of there from all the people throwing stuff. Dana White said he was embarrassed, as well he should be. If your fighter can't control that, who knows? Connor didn't press charges on the guys that came into the ring, who did go to jail.
They didn't get suspended that long, did they?
No, the guys that jumped in the ring.
No. I'm talking about Khabib and Connor.
They haven't had.
I thought they got like a small suspension.
No, nothing's come through total yet. It doesn't sound like Khabib's going to get the belt, so we'll see what Dana decides on that. But the two fighters that jumped in were both UFC guys. One was Khabib's cousin, who's fighting was supposed to be fighting next month. Dana banned them both from the UFC forever. Can't be in the corner. Can't do any of that.
They did get suspended. I knew I saw this somewhere. 10 days.
By who?
UFC.
The UFC. Okay, yeah. See, that's the thing is the Nevada State Commission is going to be the one who's going to throw down the major suspension.
Well,
and say
it
if
might
they
have been
can
UFC. I'll check
again.
into that while you're talking.
No, yeah, the Nevada State, they're the ones that are going to be big because they can say they don't have to give them a fighting license. So if that's the case, Connor or Khabib will never be able to fight in Vegas again, which means they lose a lot of money because obviously that's where the money is generated on the UFC.
No, it was Nevada, the commission. They gave them 10-day suspensions.
Really?
That's it.
For the altercation.
Yeah, for the
Not
fight, for the post-fight.
Interesting.
Right.
So I guess what I have to, and I didn't watch this all, and I'm not big on UFC either. But
which, by the way, you had the invite and didn't show up.
Yeah,
we had Notre Dame on the big TV.
Notre Dame was rolling.
We had Notre Dame on the big TV until a little bit after halftime. So you could have came over, watched them roll, watched one of the craziest fights of all time, and still been happy with your life.
I know.
But you did.
I was tired though. I've been up since 1:20.
Act like you didn't nap during the day. So.
I actually didn't. Wasn't able to.
But
kind
of asleep on the podcast.
So what I was gonna ask is, or what I was gonna say is, nothing. No excuses for what he did, jumping over the ring, starting that whole chaos in that fight. But I did see he did say, and I know you were saying, they're selling fights. He said he talked about his country, talked about his religion, and he talked about his family.
Yep.
So you want to sell a fight, but sometimes you go over that line, and sometimes you go over that line too much.
He should have just kept it when he was done.
It doesn't matter. They're selling fights. That's what happens. That's when you're talking smack. That's what happens. I get it.
After he won, he should have talked his shit right there like he did and stopped.
And you know what? This has happened before. It happened with Diaz. So when Nate Diaz and Connor fought, they talked a lot of shit coming up in this fight to both each other. And then after the fight, after Nate beat him, they shook hands. Like I said, at the end of the day, you got to understand what is selling a fight and what is personal. And I think that Khabib took it way too personal. Even his dad, I don't know if you guys saw this. This came out earlier in the week. His dad said that, whatever sanctions the UFC gives him aren't even going to be close to what I give him. He goes, I forgive Connor for what he did. I forgive him for what he said. He's the one who trained Khabib and his son and the other family members there, and pretty much said, the sanctions of whatever UFC gives will be nothing compared to what I'm going to give my son, because that was absolutely disrespectful and out of line. So when Khabib's dad is saying this and apologized to Connor, even he knew, because Connor was the one poking at him because of that. And like I said, we go back, and at the end of the day, Khabib comes from a family of people, of these crazy Russians who would sit in caves, I was reading, and would literally jump out and kill people, kill other Russians. we're talking for years and years and years. So he comes from that sort of family. But when the man's dad is doing this and understanding what's going on, you gotta. He should have just thought about it, because if he just doesn't do anything, Nothing happens. No brawl ensues. He gets the belt, and he's probably one of the greatest lightweight champions that we've seen. But right now, I don't know if he gets the belt. I don't know if he fights. I mean, there's things that he might not even get a visa back in the United States. There's so much that's going to happen, which I don't think any charges are going to be pressed for that's going to happen. But when you do this and you go into the crowd with the people, you endanger the people. You endanger the police. You endanger security. You endanger anybody who's around there. That's where problems start. So this isn't even close to over. There's going to be a lot more coming on this here in the next. And Dana White's going to push it out because it just gives him publicity.
Yep, and you think there will be a rematch?
I hope not. I hate that. I understand Connor is going to want a rematch, but it shouldn't happen. It'll be interesting to see what they do. If they keep Khabib with the belt, then Tony Ferguson needs to fight him. There's no way he doesn't. I know Nate Diaz just called out Ferguson, but there's no reason. Or no, Nate Diaz wanted the belt, which he doesn't get because Ferguson, at the end of the day, never lost the belt. He was injured and it was stripped of it. So he deserves the next shot at lightweight, and he was going to get the winner of this fight regardless. So I think that Ferguson ends up getting the next title shot with, if it's Khabib or if it's an interim with somebody else. I don't know what's going to happen right now, so we're going to have to see.
And then Connor's Twitter after the match, good knock, looking forward to the rematch.
Yep.
So that's what he said. And then the next day he said, we lost the match, but we won the battle. The war goes on.
Yep, and he's going to keep talking, and that's what he does.
He sells, yeah. And like you said, like at the end of the day, he knows what he's worth.
Oh,
He
yeah.
knows what he's worth. That's why he said, good knock. Like, at the end of the day, he's talking
He knows
shit.
he got his ass beat. He tapped out in the ring. I mean,
Right. He talks shit. He'll talk shit all day long. He gets beat. He owns up to it, and then he's going to sell the next fight. That's what he does.
Yep.
That's why the Mayweather shit happened. That's why he made a shitload of money for Mayweather. More money than he'll ever make in UFC,
Yep.
doing the Mayweather fight. What, 150 million?
100 million at least they know of.
Yeah. So, absolutely insane. And, it'll be interesting to see kind of what happens from here on out.
And to finish up with UFC, I know that we're going to go into the Jason debate a little bit later here, but one of his questions, because we talked earlier in the week about this, and then one of the questions he gave was UFC 229. During the brawl, Lesnar's music hits. He comes out for the save. Should UFC start shooting angles? Apparently the brawl was more over than the entire card. Thoughts?
Brandon?
I don't know if they should start shooting angles. I think you're getting too much. You would get too much in the WWE side of it. I think.
That's kind of what the brawl felt like.
Yeah, I know. I think stay with what you're doing. Don't try to make it. Don't try to make it fake, I guess. Just keep on.
That was a real life shoot angle.
I know it's a real. Yeah, it's real life, but don't try to go for that. I think just keep on doing what
I
you're
agree.
doing.
Well, they need to, because right now there's a lot of people thinking this is fake and all this stuff. So we're going to see. I don't think the UFC will ever shoot angles, but I would never put it past Dana White. He is an interesting con artist, and I could see him doing something like that. He's worked with Vince McMahon in the past, so the whole Undertaker and Lesnar and all of that's really sketchy.
Want to go? After Lesnar got beat, what?
Very sketchy.
So before we jump into Justin on the Twitter, you wanted to talk a little bit about John Jones against Alexander Gustafsson.
Yes, so they are going to fight. John Jones is going to be back here in December. I think it's December 29th. Their typical New Year's Eve card, he'll headline against Alexander Gustafsson. This has been a rematch that has been waiting for forever. He's pretty much one of the only guys who has given Jones a fight, gone to 5 rounds, almost beat him, very close decision. We've been looking forward to this rematch for a while. Gustafsson's been hurt a little bit, so he hasn't been fighting much. Jones, obviously, with all the drugs and steroids and everything else, he's been suspended for. But he was reinstated because they found that whatever he was tested positive for was actually a clean substance. It was not banned. So I don't know how much money he's going to get back from that either. You can't suspend a guy for 6 months and then say, oh, wait, sorry, we messed up. It was actually clean. So we're going to see how that goes with the UFC. But that'll be a really good fight, so I'm pretty excited for that. They have some good cards coming up here, and anytime John Jones is back, he's going to sell a fight just like Conor McGregor. I mean, he's a big name. He is up there in the Lesnar, the McGregor, the Ronda Rousey of selling pay-per-views. Everyone's going to come back to see John Jones, and I think it's not being DC, with this being against Gustafsson, I think it's going to sell even more. So I'm pretty excited for that. Hopefully he can stay clean, and after the fight, he doesn't get popped for something again.
Well, speaking of DC, we can get into Justin on the Twitter. who would be the best character for Dave Bautista to portray in Suicide Squad 2? So what happened is James Gunn was the director for Marvel at Disney. Marvel is a Disney-owned product. And James Gunn, he directed Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, was directing 3, gets fired for some comments that he made in Twitter years ago, and comes back, bites him. So DC gets him. He's going to write Suicide Squad 2 and potentially direct. So who would Batista portray in Suicide Squad? Brandon.
You're going to probably have to skip me on this one because I haven't even seen Suicide Squad.
Okay,
the first one. So
Yeah, that's all you, buddy. I haven't seen it either.
No,
I think he'd make a good Harley Quinn.
There we go. Yeah, no, he's not taking over for Margot. But being a DC guy, the easy thing here is you bring in Bane. He plays Bane. Bane jumps in. Bane was not in Suicide Squad, the first one, so he could easily play Bane. It makes the most sense. He's jacked up like Bane. That's what he could play.
Yeah, but who played Bane? Tom Hardy?
Yeah, but that was a different DC universe, quote unquote. Tom Hardy is also Venom in Marvel.
Yeah, I know. I just saw that too this last week.
Yeah.
It was a great movie. I liked it.
Did you watch it?
Yeah. I saw it on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday night.
It got mixed reviews for what it was, but
And I thought that was weird. I heard that everyone's like, "Oh, it was bad," but Rotten Tomatoes gave it an 88%, and I trust Rotten Tomatoes more than anything else. They've never let me down on movies.
yeah, I sort of trust Rotten Tomatoes. I want to see Venom just because I like the character.
You'll enjoy it
in Marvel.
I
I figure I would.
It was very entertaining. There was a lot of good fight scenes in there.
Did Homeboy for Stan Lee make a cameo like he usually does in Marvel?
Of course he does.
Does he?
Of course he does.
Just tell me, what's his cameo?
I'm not going to tell you. People are listening to this. I'm not going to ruin it. He does. He's in there. It's very short, just like normal.
Just like he's
But
a
it's
UPS guy. He's a FedEx
bus
guy.
driver again.
Yeah, exactly.
You'll see when you get there. I mean, like I said, it's because there are a lot of comic guys out there who are into that. And also, if you do, stay after the preview or after the credits. There's something there to watch. So always want to do that. Just the first one though, not the second credits. There's nothing after the second credits.
So it's
don't
quick.
make that mistake.
It's quick.
Yeah, there's like a little quick, maybe like 3, 4 minute, 5 minute credit session, and then it has that. And then it does the full credits, and there's nothing after that.
Okay, well, I know a lot of Marvel people that love Marvel and what they did and what Disney is. Now, this is a Sony product. They love Marvel and Avengers and all that, and I'm like, you know what? And then they shit on this movie. I'm like, people are just so much into this, and like DC, they hate on DC. I know. Speaking of DC, Ben Affleck, who just did a 40-day rehab stint. The serious problem. It ran in my immediate family with addiction. He struggles with alcoholism, and I give him a lot of credit. He has checked back and he did this. His divorce is finalized with Jennifer Garner. He's dating a 22-year-old now. They went to Montana. He has a house in Montana, and he's looking jacked. So he may or may not come back as Batman. I want to see him come back as Batman. You guys know I love Batman. I like him as Batman and Bruce Wayne because when I look at him as Bruce Wayne, I'm like, he is the perfect Bruce Wayne because Ben Affleck is a legitimate playboy Bruce Wayne guy. I could see it happening, and if he comes back, I'll be happy. But we'll see what Matt Reeves does with the Batman. So, and I just got a little stat from a bear over here. If you go to Burger King, you can get 100 nuggets for $10. Brandon, when are you going to be going to Burger King to get 100 nuggets for $10?
I mean, I don't know if I can eat 100 nuggets in one sitting, but
I think you could.
Just another reason why Burger King's better than Wendy's.
No.
Yeah.
No, that is not even close.
So speaking of food,
That's cheap food, exactly that right there.
Right. So speaking of food, we'll talk a little bit. In December, we will be going to a charity event for Leading Families Home, which is an organization that was merged between Beach House Family Shelter and Focus, which helps people in homelessness become and regain independence. A lot of people get permanent housing again. So this event, it's called Winter Wonderland. They have a wine poll there. You put in $20, you get to get a bottle of wine. They range different prices. We will be able to set up our table. I was actually talking to my mom about this yesterday. So the three of us will be there with girlfriend, hot friend, wife. And I think we're going to have Stat Guy show up with his girlfriend. And so people, if they're there, they'll be able to see a real-life Stat Guy. I was talking to Mom. She said we should record there, but we're trying to figure out, how we would do it if we could record because there'd be so many people, so much noise. So we're going to just focus on the charity. The cool thing is we get to bring in, our own throwaway silverware plates and all this. Brandon's done this with me. Each, two of us can bring in a dish to pass because it's like a potluck. They may cater it out. We'll see. But the interesting thing there is what's going to happen. You know, you have to decorate your table, and you can win for decorating your table. I was going to leave that to the women, but I really think we should focus on decorating our stuff with our podcast.
Oh yeah,
I think it'll be great.
And gummy bears.
Oh, I love it. That'd be, get giant gummy bears.
Really, what we just
that
need
could be
is,
the tree topper.
Absolutely.
We just need like a bottle of liquor, some Miller Lights, some Arnold Palmer Spikes.
Well, we have to buy the drinks there. It's all charity. So, but I think we can buy
then-
Miller Lite there and wine.
Hopefully, they have a bottle of liquor to buy.
Yeah, they have silent auction, everything. It's all to a good cause. We're going to be happy to take part in that. And by that point, we'll probably be ahead by 15 or 20 games. So the Pigskin Pick'em. So we're focusing on our charities, and we know we're going to win. I think we're going to stick by that. And we are really big on charitable causes. Yeah, we sit here and bullshit and banter back and forth with each other, but community service and giving back to the community is important to us. So we will continue to do so. That is one of those things we will be doing. So we look forward to seeing any listeners that listen to us here. We invite you to join us there. Get a table there. It's you get a table of 8 people, and it's $200. Like $200 for a table, $25 a head. You get to have a great time. You get to see the silent auction. Get to do a wine pull. Get to have a potluck dinner. There's a cash bar. Dancing. All these things. Have a good time with your friends. Go out there, donate to the charity, get a table. We want to see you guys there.
Most importantly, it's for the charity. It's it's for a good cause, and that's really why we're going there.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we look forward to that. So
Absolutely.
let's get into we'll talk a little bit more about that as we get closer. It's the first week in December on a Tuesday night at the parish. So we'll talk about that in the future. So Jason debate, he gave us a lot of topics. We already talked about the UFC shooting angle. So now let's get into this one. HBO is finished with boxing. What is the future of the sport in terms of broadcasting and promotions? What do you got, Brandon?
I don't know. I was pretty shocked when they got rid of boxing. I think maybe they do dip their toes into the UFC and see how that goes. I don't know what else they would, action sports they would go after.
Well, the question was, what is the future of the sport of boxing?
Oh, boxing. I'm sorry. I
no,
kind
you're
of read
okay.
that wrong.
In terms of broadcast,
Yeah, no, boxing. I mean, I don't follow boxing anymore. I think there's too many divisions. There's a guy that's, out there that holds, I'm just using this, there's not an actual guy.
87 titles.
Yeah, 87 titles, or realistically like 8 titles.
Sorry,
I mean,
69 titles.
Very nice.
Like, come on. I mean, the sport of boxing is declining, and unfortunately, because even, we saw it at the tail end, but even when we were younger, you had Mike Tyson, you had Lennox Lewis, you had all those, those big guys that were still fighting, and then Mayweather came around, and then Pacquiao, and then all of a sudden, I mean, there's really nobody.
But still, if you there was always just a set couple of guys. You had Holyfield and Tyson, then you had Lennox Lewis come in and fight, and then you had Mayweather for
Roy
a long
Jones
time.
Jr., Oscar De La Hoya.
But see, still, if Mayweather, I know there's talk of Mayweather Pacquiao coming back, and it wouldn't be on HBO, it'd probably be on Showtime or something.
Yeah, Showtime's going to be the new.
But still, he's going to make a shitload of money. Like, they still make a shit ton of money.
Because people still buy these matches.
Right.
They still buy a $60 pay-per-view for one fight, and that's all they care about. So it surprises me that HBO is getting out of the boxing game. It's nice because I don't have to ever listen to Jim Lampley's voice again, which is fantastic. I am not a Jim Lampley fan at all. So I hope that he stays on HBO.
You think Morrow goes call some fights?
What was that?
Morrow?
I mean, he was at Showtime for a while, and I don't know if he's still, like, I know he does UFC, but I thought he did something else back in the, I mean, he did Bellator.
Was that on Showtime Strikeforce or something?
Yeah. And then, which was Bellator, it's changed so many times. But yeah, he did that.
UFC Junior.
Yeah, and I wouldn't mind to see him back. I think he has a great voice for fighting just in general, which is why he makes for a pretty good WWE announcer. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, Jason put on here Dana White. I think that, HBO and the UFC could do it, but they're going to be with ESPN now. So I don't know if they're gonna have the money to do that. Obviously, their pay-per-view, they're going to make more money, I think, just on regular pay-per-view than they would on HBO.
It's funny he said Dana. I was thinking Vince, because he has had Mayweather for WrestleMania. I could see him dipping in. Maybe he likes to have his hand, as you can see now that he's worth billion.
Yeah, and
I could see him dipping his hand just to the broadcasting part. Like, this is a part of the network. He could put it on the WWE network. You see, they just met with Impact Wrestling, not to buy him, not to do anything like that, but just to get their library. to get it on the WWE
I'm
network.
hoping so.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if he
Love to
tries
see
to do
some of those.
something and just bulk up the network and start getting into boxing and getting into these other things in the past.
I don't think he will, and the only reason why I say that is because he's so focused on the XFL again, the XFL reboot. So I don't think he's going to be looking that way.
Well,
but is it a possibility? Sure, it is. I mean, Shane.
Yeah.
I mean, any of these guys that do that. So
And Shane's big into media stuff. So, I mean,
it's just HBO's lose. I don't understand why they're doing it. They're losing a big moneymaker, and it's interesting why. So we'll see what they do. I wouldn't be surprised if they pick something up. I don't know what it would be. Maybe
more shows.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. I just don't know. I can't think of what they
Maybe
would do
Disney
right now.
buys them out.
Yeah,
They
I
own
don't-
everything else.
I don't see that happening, but that's interesting. So we'll see. You know, I'll be interesting to see what HBO does. Obviously, you know, you lose that boxing revenue, it's a decent chunk of money, but at the same time, they make a lot of money with all. They have great TV shows as well. So
Right. So next, how awesome would Connor? We've hit on this in the past where we said who we'd like to see come into WWE.
oh yeah.
How would McGregor be in WWE? Can you imagine the promos he would cut? First, it'd have to be attitude. We talked about this in a previous show. It'd have to be Attitude Era.
Yeah, it would.
For McGregor.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
couldn't-
absolutely.
He couldn't do what he does now.
Yeah, I mean, those promos would be, I think they would be awesome, but, I mean,
I don't even in the Attitude Era. I don't
Yeah.
think he would have. I mean, there'd just be.
Yeah.
He'd have to tone down a lot.
Yep. I agree.
It'd be
So
a lot of editing.
that's a quick one for us.
It would. Well, I mean, if he gets kicked out of the UFC, it'd be good for that. It'd be fun.
Oh, you know Vince will do it. If he
Oh
gets
yeah.
kicked out,
If he gets the
he'll-
opportunity, he'll get him there.
In a heartbeat.
So, I love this. So, drop our bias of Stone Cold Steve Austin. What was the better performance, the beer truck or the milk truck? So, I'll just say this real fast. In turn, like the beer truck was just awesome. Drives out a whole beer truck, but just because that happened, and then here comes Kurt Angle in a freaking milk truck, that was for me better and funnier. Just because he drives out in this small milk truck, and Jim Ross is cooking. You give me Jim Ross's call, Stephanie McMahon. His
Now he becomes a Dairy Queen.
yeah, it's fantastic.
I think with me right there, obviously Stone Cold, you know, my favorite wrestler of all time, and that I remember watching when the beer truck came out. I remember watching when the milk truck came out. I think they got to be both even for me. Just because if Jim Ross doesn't make that call on Stephanie McMahon, I would put the beer truck. But I mean, just with him making that call and everything, I think they're both even. But can you imagine being a fan in there and getting sprayed with beer or getting sprayed with milk?
I think milk would be a little bit worse than beer, just a little bit, but
I don't think they can't do it now because everybody has cell phones.
My
and everything,
favorite of the
so
whole
they
thing
can't
is
do it
when he
now.
gets out of the truck and just throws milk cartons at him first, and then he sprays them. Oh, it was fantastic.
mine is still the beer truck. For one, it was the original. But for
Right.
two, Vince McMahon swimming in that, that was amazing. And
that was
in
awesome.
his $5,000 suit, pal, and just swimming, and he's just swimming in the ring and the beer. That's what made that. I mean, that was absolutely amazing. Vince made that almost as much as Austin made that.
Yeah.
But Austin could have came out there and did anything. He was so over then at the time. But yeah, with Vince swimming in that, I think that's still the clip they show is just him just swimming around, and that was absolutely hilarious.
I was watching a thing
The
last
Rock
night.
holding onto the
Right.
ring, it was just amazing.
I was watching a thing last night of The Rock selling all of the stunners.
Oh,
How he
yeah,
would do that when
that was a Twitter thing
Yeah.
this last week.
when he gets stunned and then he'd flip every time. He's like, what did he? Because what
He
did
said-
Stone Cold say? He didn't sell it. He
He said he made it. He didn't sell it.
yeah, he made it.
And then The Rock came out and said, I wasn't selling anything. Those stunners hurt like a son of a bitch, is exactly, I think, what he said.
Oh,
And
I
it
bet
was-
you they do hurt like a son of a bitch. So he's probably just getting that
was-
extra spray.
Yeah, I saw that. That was funny. So some Twitter troll got owned by both of them, which is great. So
The best though is when he would stun people and they'd have like beer. You know, they'd be drinking beer
holding
with
the
them,
beer.
and then he just stun. The beer goes flying everywhere after they get stung.
All right, next. So best cage drop / fall and why? Foley, Shane, or Owens? Now, when he said Owens, I'm like, Owen
That
Hart?
was the first thing I thought of.
Like Owen Hart's fall? Is that
I was
what
like,
he means?
wow, too soon.
I know.
Geez, that was a Gary joke right there.
I know. I was like, but I was trying to think. I'm like, what Kevin Owens fall would he be talking about?
I think it's
The
the
last
one.
one with the Braun Strowman.
Yeah, the Braun Strowman.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
the
Yep.
cage.
Yeah,
This
I
is-
think this is easy.
This is Foley. I mean, Shane's was extremely
I
impressive,
think
and Owens
Shane
was
off the
sweet.
Titantron was more impressive than
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of with the kendo stick. Steve Blackman was popped him. No, obviously it was Foley. I mean, both of them. I mean, he said that the one through the cage back into the ring hurt more. That was the one where he put his tooth through his nose.
And knocked him out. He was knocked out for like 40 seconds.
Yeah, and then Taker just looking like he's dead.
He's like,
Taker
you just know
said
Taker
that.
up top's like, shit.
He thought he was dead.
Again?
Like he said that. He's like, oh, he's dead. Like,
yeah,
he's done.
So I think,
and like he said,
then-
if he
then-
didn't, because he fell, he wasn't expecting it, so he fell wrong. He said, if I would have fell right, I'd probably be dead.
yeah,
And then the
then-
chair hit him.
yeah, that's what knocked his nose, or his
know.
tooth. or
Then
his
Terry
nose.
Funk comes in and gets chokeslammed out of his shoes.
That was great.
Foley wakes up after he gets knocked out. He's like, "There's shoes. Like, where'd these shoes come from?"
Well, and he didn't have any on either, I think. Oh, no, his boots.
He had his boots, but I mean, yeah, this is easy. I mean, the original, it's
And
just
then-
like you were saying, the original was Stone Cold.
And you got to think of it too this way. I mean, Shane and Owens went through tables that have airbags under them. For the love of God, I mean, Foley did not. Those
there
tables
was a
had.
steel cage guardrail right next
Yeah.
to the freaking table.
I mean, if he would have missed
And
any more, he would have been.
that was
right
the
on
second
that.
worst drop in that match.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's the insane part.
Yeah,
So-
Foley hands down here.
Yeah, sorry,
What-
Jason. We're not going to argue much on that one. I think everyone should agree with
So
that.
the next one was, what was your immediate reaction when Titus tripped and fell under the ring at Royal Rumble? So for me, I texted you guys because I was like, did that just happen? And I was thanking God the panel was, because they usually have the panel and it's on the other side.
Yep.
The light up board. This is Royal Rumble. I'm just sitting there picturing if he tripped and fell and smoked that panel, it'd say Roy Rumble instead of Royal Rumble. I'm like, geez.
I was laughing my ass off because I was sitting there and me and my wife were watching and I just turned to her. I was like, did he just fall?
We were all cracking up.
And the thing is that usually when somebody makes a mistake, they don't really try to overshow it. I mean, Michael Cole right there is laughing his ass off as well, and they keep on repeating it and showing it.
You have to. I mean, you have to. It's hilarious. Everyone sees it, Absolutely hilarious.
I was.
But
remember-
he tripped and fell perfect under.
Oh,
It was a
amazing.
great slide.
Yeah.
He would have been safe into first all day, guaranteed. That was great. Absolutely hilarious.
So next, will Hulk Hogan return to the WWE for an on-air appearance or a talent such as GM?
It'll be on air if he does come back. I think he's done with the GM, with obviously the wrestling portion of it. But I could see
He
him.
still wants to wrestle. You see, they did a promo with
Jesus.
NWO.
Yeah, but God, I wouldn't want him to do that. If he was going to come back, he'd be fine as like a GM or as like some sort of advisory, or like back in the day when I think they had it where he won the ownership from Vince. Something goofy like that, something good to make some matches or something. But Hogan, he's going to come back eventually. They're gonna bring him back here, especially with all the other people all the other old guys that are back right now. So why not Hulk?
which is great.
Why not Hulk?
Yeah, I'd be okay with Hulk.
Yeah, I think he's could be either one. It could be both actually. I think I could see him as a GM, not for long. Thinking of him wrestling, I mean the guy's like 66, 67 years old.
Is he that old?
He's maybe not. Maybe he's like 63, 64. But
talking
I mean,
about-
I will
what is he?
Hulk or Terry?
Well, yeah. Both.
Terry's like 80.
He looks
But
like
I mean, like
Hulk Hogan is 65.
65.
with
I
his-
mean,
So he's
like,
eligible
what
for
is-
Medicare.
hot dog skin.
But like, what is he gonna do? I mean, he's gonna. What does Bruce always say? He's gonna Hulk up. Hulk is gonna Hulk up. I mean, is that what he says? I don't know, when he talks about
Hogan
so
must
yeah,
pose,
Hogan.
pal.
Yeah. So he's gonna hit the leg, and then he's gonna get the crowd going, and then the big boo, and then you, and all that. So I mean, I don't know what he can do. I mean, the guy's 65. I don't even know what he looks like now. Is he still in
He
shape?
looks the same,
Yeah,
yes.
he looks the same.
He still looks
I
like a
mean,
hot dog.
Yeah. So
A jacked up hot dog.
yeah.
with a blonde mustache.
I can see it just just an appearance, like maybe like WrestleMania 30 when they came out, when you were there when I was supposed to be there, but I chickened out. And
Motherfucker.
but yeah, I don't.
Goddamn.
I don't see him wrestling.
All right. So thank you, Jason, as always. You know what I just realized too? We got 3 guys that contribute to this show that give us questions. Justin, Jason, and Jeremy. Triple J.
Too many J's.
Right. So next, the perfect discussion with Jeremy. So he gave us a good one. A lot of wrestlers trying to go to Hollywood. What are the best movies starring a pro wrestler? Good question.
I'm pretty sure I told you this earlier via text. The Marine 5.
Yeah. Were you serious? Come on.
No, I'm not serious. I mean,
Ready to rumble?
Are we throwing the Rock out? Or are we keeping
no.
him?
No, he's a
He said-
wrestler.
yeah.
A lot of his movies are good.
Yeah, I was trying to find
Yeah, I
one
mean,
that... I was trying to, like the Condemned with Stone Cold actually wasn't that bad of a movie.
It was
Well,
awesome.
here you
I
go.
love it.
This was Jeremy's and it was one of mine. They Live, Roddy Piper.
Okay. I mean, The Princess Diaries, or
I'm
was,
here to-
was it The Princess Bride? What was the one with
Princess
Andre?
Bride.
Princess
With
Bride,
Andre the Giant.
the older one?
Yeah, with Andre the Giant.
What about Mr. Nanny?
Yeah.
I don't think I saw it. Was that with the Big Show? Or
Hogan.
That's
what's
with Hogan.
Oh, the Hogan. Oh, yeah.
I was trying to think of what was the Big Show?
Knucklehead?
Knucklehead, yeah, that looks so
What was Triple
stupid.
H's?
The Chaperone.
The Chaperone.
Like I said, or you get the Marine 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
And now 6 is coming with Shawn Michaels and Becky Lynch.
I thought was the Miz in 5 then? He
Yeah,
was
he's
one of them,
been
wasn't
in
he?
like
Yeah, it's-
3, 4, and 5.
I mean,
now
I
6.
think the first Marine was good. You know, John Cena. I think 12 Rounds was good. And the Condemned is my favorite. I mean, it's Stone Cold.
I mean,
I bought that out on DVD when it first came out.
What's your
but-
favorite Dwayne movie?
Dwayne, man, there's so many.
First off, have you watched Ballers on HBO?
I don't have HBO.
Watch it.
I know I have to. I heard
Watch
I
that
heard
show.
It's very
It
good.
is very good. Have you seen it, Bear?
No.
Check it. Seriously, check
I've
it out.
heard
It's
it's
a great
good,
show.
but I
Yeah.
haven't seen it.
So
There's just so many of the Rock. I don't know.
Dwayne.
That's a good question.
like the Fast Five, he brought back the
He
franchise.
brought back the Fast Five. I mean,
He's going to be.
I
in,
was never a fan of those movies anyways. That's a bad take, but I was never
Well,
a fan
he's got a
anyways.
spin-off coming with
Yeah, Hobbs,
Statham. It's going to be just called Hobbs and Shaw.
Is
Yeah.
Paul Walker going to make an appearance in
Yes, probably.
Okay.
Too soon.
No, because none of those guys
that? He just
are.
made an Owen Hart joke.
They spun off of
Too
it.
soon.
They spun off of it, so it's just Hobbs and Shaw. They do their own thing. For me, like Dwayne has a lot of good movies and
There's
a lot
just
of
so many.
Walking Tall. That was a very good one.
Walking Tall.
Yeah, what's
I mean,
the other one? The Runaway. Oh my gosh.
Run Down.
Run Down.
Run Sorry,
Runaway.
Runaway.
Have you seen?
Rundown,
Have you seen
hilarious.
Faster with him?
No.
Is that where he's like playing a dad, where his like daughter
That's
or
Snitch.
son or Snitch?
No, that's
Okay.
it's not like the one that he's just doing. The
I-
one where he's
Well,
jumping
Faster.
from like, building to building.
You learn a little bit here and there. Billy Bob Thornton's in that and plays a cop. In Faster, he goes back and is just basically killing everybody that like killed his brother, and it's just
Okay.
awesome.
Oh,
like,
okay, yeah. I think I've seen that.
because he made it through. They basically tried to execute, and he didn't know who the other guy was that executed his brother and shot him, and it went through like a steel plate and out the side. And he's just a badass, just quiet, goes and just shooting, killing everybody. Love that.
Yeah, he was in the other guys too. It wasn't really
Yeah.
a movie, but I
With
thought
him
that
and
was
Samuel
great.
Jackson.
Yeah. jump for it. You
Yeah.
know, to the bush and completely missed.
So
What else?
other,
Did you guys see Baywatch? That
yeah,
was-
I
that
did.
was actually-
a lot of people
I thought
hated
that
on that. I thought it was
I
good.
thought it was
That was a
good.
good movie
I thought it
too.
was
I liked it.
I liked that movie.
Another one. What's the one that he did with the true story he did with Mark Wahlberg? Just Bill. They were.
Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain.
I love Pain and Gain.
That was a
Where-
good movie.
that's where
Awesome movie.
that's where I learned the thing and tried to get the ex-wife to give me her titty milk because I was like, "It's straight HGH, honey," and she's like, "You won't do it." And I said, and she says I did it, and then I stopped. I'm like, I didn't have Nestle's Quick. If I had Quick, I would have poured it in straight HGH. Been there, but
Jesus.
yeah.
Yikes.
She didn't get enough. Grayson took it all.
Wow.
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 So other ones.
Taco.
You like anything with Cena?
I like 12 rounds.
What was
I
it?
think-
Sisters? What was he in with Tina Fey and Amy Poehler? He was a drug dealer.
I don't remember. What was the one he was in with Amy Schumer?
Trainwreck.
I thought that one was pretty
Do
funny.
you find it funny
He's hilarious
that
in
he's
that.
like, this is what I find
He
hilarious.
played the gay guy in that movie, right?
When I thought it
Well, he was supposed to be, wasn't he?
yeah,
He wasn't.
he was dating her, and then he's trying to have sex with her. What I found funny is Amy Poehler, he's in a movie banging Amy Poehler.
Schumer.
Or Schumer, thank you. But she's in another movie with him. So Amy Schumer, he's sleeping with her in a movie, and she used to date Dolph Ziggler. And ironically,
Really?
Dolph Ziggler and Cena both used to date Nikki Bella. So I found it hysterical. I'm like, so their dicks have just both been rubbing against the same chick twice.
Yeah, pretty much. They
Interesting.
probably just do it together with him. Just threesomes. Who knows?
Well, now that Nikki, did you see on Raw on Monday, Nikki, they turned heel. You didn't see this.
Yeah,
Did you?
I liked it.
They turned heel on Ronda, and then they come out, and there was like a sign that said, Nikki loves John or something. She just rips it out of this fan's hands.
Is that
It was
what the sign said?
Yeah,
I
something
saw
like
her-
that.
I saw her
I tried
rip
to
the
pause
sign.
on it. I was laughing.
Yeah.
I think that movie that he was in, he was a drug dealer, and she's like, "What's your safe word?" Or she's like, I don't have a safe word. He's like, you'll need one. That was basically what he tells her.
Did you see cock blockers?
Yes.
I didn't see
Blockers?
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, blockers. I had to call it, but
That
it was,
shit was funny.
was it? I'll have to look up that.
Yeah, where he
it
plays
was
like
good.
this.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He's just a straight up dad.
I'll have to see that one. That's
Yeah,
good.
it was hilarious. But
I can't
yeah,
think
I
of
mean,
much. Yeah, I mean, the
It was
Marines,
Sisters, by the way. He was in Daddy's Home. He was in Daddy's Home
It
too.
was a
He's-
cameo, wasn't it? Though.
yeah, but he's in both.
yeah.
Ferdinand, which is a kids movie, he played the bull.
Yeah.
That was good. Grayson loved it. We went and saw that with him. That was
I
fun.
never saw that one.
He 12 rounds. You said Marine.
Yep.
He was in. You probably didn't know this. He was in Ready to Rumble.
No.
Sam was.
Yeah, didn't know that.
He was in the gym. He was one of the gym patrons.
Sounds about right.
in
I would've
2000.
By the way,
about
that's
the
an
time.
awesome movie, and I have not seen it in like freaking.
Oh, same here.
15
With Macho
years.
Man, and then ironically David Arquette in the
Yeah.
title. DDP's
He
in
just
it.
fought. David Arquette.
Macho Man, he's dead.
No, David Arquette wrestled
Speaking of that, also
2 months ago.
the first Spider-Man, the original there, Macho Man.
Macho
was
Man's
that.
in it.
He's
Yeah.
Bonesaw.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, he is.
So that's another good one. Macho Man was in that.
Ooh, yeah.
Who else we got? Let's. Did you like
Kevin Nash. What? No, Kevin Nash.
Kevin
was
Nash-
the
no, hold on.
Punisher.
Longest yard.
Hold on,
The
Kevin
Punisher.
Nash. I don't know if you knew this. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2:
Yeah.
Secret of the Ooze. He's Super Shredder.
Yep.
Kevin
Did not
Nash
know
is.
that.
And then who else was I just about to say?
Longest
The
Yard.
Big Show and Waterboy.
Goldberg is in that. Big Show and Waterboy.
There's a lot of them in the longest yard too. Actually,
Captain
yeah,
Insano.
Captain Nintendo.
Yeah, Kevin Nash and the Punisher was good though. I love that movie.
Yeah, it was a
that
good
is just
movie.
a badass
John
movie.
Travolta
in
played a
general.
good bad guy, and that movie was good.
What was the movie? Because if you listen to Something to Wrestle with Bruce and Conrad, you'll know more about it. But with Zeus, how they had Tiny Lister, and they talked about how he didn't know what to do and the spots he had, and it promoted Zeus. Tiny Lister is Debo from
Yeah.
Friday.
Yep.
Yeah.
So he was Zeus, in WWE, and had the
Yeah.
unibrow,
Yeah.
looked like Anthony Davis, cross-eyed. And they had the movie. What was the movie called? I'm gonna have to look that up. I know I'm gonna think of it.
Friday.
No, not Friday.
Yes, it was Friday.
Not with Hogan.
It was Debo.
Yeah, I know he was Debo,
How'd he
but
get
no
fired
holds
on your
barred.
Day off.
No holds barred. Another one, Rocky 3, when he was Thunder Lips,
Oh, there
because we
go.
had Thunder Lips, the Urban Legend, earlier
There
this
you
year.
go. In the archives, listen to it.
A movie that nobody
At Over the Line Sports Podcast.
right, and I think it's episode 3. Another funny one that he was in that you've never seen and probably shouldn't exist: Santa with muscles.
Oh God.
Hulk Hogan.
Never heard of it.
No.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
has Ric Flair been in anything? Do we know?
I'm sure he has, right? He's had to be in something.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
I'm sure he's been in some sort of cinematography somewhere at some point. Maybe it was a personal movie or something.
Yeah, I
but
can't think of any.
No, I can't see anything either. What
He's been to music videos. Does that count?
Jerry Lawler was in the whole Andy Kaufman thing because that was a real shoot.
Man on the Moon.
Man on the Moon. Who else? What other kind of wrestlers do it?
I'm sure there's a lot, but
Batista.
Yeah.
Obviously, Guardians of
obviously
the
we forgot
Galaxy.
him. Guardians of
Yeah.
the Galaxy,
Yep.
Avengers.
Orton was in one of the Marines, I think.
He was
he
just
was in it.
Batista. I didn't see it yet. I don't know if you guys saw it, but Escape Plan with Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No, I haven't
Really good.
Oh yeah,
And-
Escape Plan 2. Yeah.
Yeah, he's in Escape Plan 2. I haven't seen that, but Escape Plan 1, like Jim Caviezel's the bad guy. Jim Caviezel, who
Jesus?
played Jesus, yes, and
Jesus can't be a
who was
bad
in
guy.
and Person of Interest. He was awesome in that.
Yep.
If you watched that show, that was
No.
great. You never watched Person of Interest?
Nope, never saw Passion of the Christ either. So
Yeah, me either. But all good. Any stars currently we think could be in movies? I think we've kind of briefly hit on this before, but they could actually be stars. Do you think The
Yeah,
Miz
I
could
think-
be a star?
I think, yeah, absolutely. I think The Miz could be a
Besides
star in
the
other
Marines.
movies besides The Marine 17. Same thing with Dolph. I think Dolph's got a good look. He could probably be a good actor. Rollins would be good.
yeah.
Ambrose would probably be good in there.
be nuts.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think. Braun would be a great bad guy, like Kevin Nash was in The Punisher. Like he
Yeah.
did just a big shit brick house in some movie trying to kill somebody. Like Kevin Nash in that movie was the exact same way, And I think Braun would play, and he's just scary looking. I think he'd play. Great
Kevin
with
Nash
that.
was also in Magic Mike.
I did not see that. So.
Yeah. I
did
may or
not
may
see
not
that
have,
either.
but he was in Magic Mike. Kevin Nash was also in, like you said, The Punisher. He was in Longest Yard.
Yep.
John Wick, Grandma's Boy. That was a funny ass one. If
Oh yeah, that's right. He was one of the repo guys.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was in that.
He was the one that threw the bong, wasn't it? Or
I think so.
oh, this expensive piece. That was Rob Schneider who did that. But yeah, that's right.
So great question. Always fun to discuss pop culture and movies for us. We love doing that. We haven't put this out there yet, so I think for the next episode we're gonna get these debate topics from everybody. But what do you guys think about we finally pick something to discuss? Like something to watch. Let's discuss it. What we think. We can run through a card.
Yeah, we could do that. I don't know if any of the people would like to do that. Mr. Perfect.
Yep.
Justin, Jason. Anyone's got any ideas? Or if you all three have one, we could just do it the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if they give it to us quick, we'll be able to do it for next week. If not, we'll go the following weeks like we usually do. We still want our discussion topics like you guys do. We appreciate that. So let's get into the next thing. Do you want to do biggest pop or biggest heat first?
Pop.
All right, pop. Honorable mentions. I have some. Brandon, do you?
No, I actually only have 2 for each of these. So
Oh, okay.
I didn't.
Okay, nerd.
Sorry.
You go ahead with your. I didn't put. There's so many. I
There's
didn't
so
even
many.
want to do
It was
honorable
just-
mentions.
it
So I
was
just
some-
wanted to do top three.
It was some I was thinking
Yeah,
of.
do it.
So CM Punk Money in the Bank in Chicago when he fought Cena. I wanted to put this in the top 3, but you'll understand why I didn't. Foley when he won the title. I had that there, but I moved it. Ziggler when he cashed in on Del Rio. And then when Brock returned and took out Cena. And then this one I didn't put in, but Daniel Bryan, the WrestleMania 30. It was nuts. Just being there was absolutely insane. But I have different top 3. So we'll go from there. And actually, I fudged up. Foley's my number 3. I lied. Foley is 3 for me, so I just jumped right into it.
Okay. Well, my number 3, since Brandon doesn't have 3, once again slacking on the studying. Congrats.
There were so many to choose from, so I just.
So you couldn't just pick one?
I know.
You choose like 17 different things for
I know,
everything.
I
I
know.
have 16 honorable mentions, but no number 3.
I thought about
Yeah,
Foley. I thought about
We know
Daniel
Stone Cold's
Bryan.
gonna be a
Will
pop.
you let me go?
No.
You didn't do your 3. It's my turn.
No, and I was gonna say, hold on. I was gonna say, people, everybody's probably getting pissed off because they keep on bringing up Stone Cold. Anytime Stone Cold ever walked out, he got a big pop.
Yeah.
So there's my
obvious.
number 3. There's my number 3. There you go.
I stayed away. I stayed away from all Stone Cold pops because
Same here.
he got.
So did I.
We know that every time he came out, his pop. You could mention every single one. I mean, for this last one, was it the 25th anniversary of Raw? I mean, that was huge. He got an amazing pop off of that. So yeah, every Stone Cold pop is a big pop. My number 3 was Hogan slamming Andre at WrestleMania 3. 93,000 people in the Pontiac Silverdome. Go back and listen to that. I mean, everybody is going nuts when that happens. If the sound was any better like it was now, it would probably be the loudest of all time. 93,000 people has to be.
Possibly.
Inside? Oh, yeah, definitely.
All right, Brandon, go with your 2, man.
All right, mine. My 2 are kind of give it away. Are returns. So 2008 when Cena returned. I think it was 2008.
The Rumble?
The Royal Rumble.
At Madison Square Garden?
Yeah, Madison Square Garden. The place. He entered number 30, I think.
Yep.
And ended up winning. I mean, this place just erupted. Went crazy. But, he won that. So, Cena, 2008.
My number 2 was Mankind winning the title on December 29th, 1998, but not airing until January 4th, 1999. The infamous Tony Schiavone butts in the seats line that ruined that pretty much took WCW down. That was the day that they gave it away and said, "Oh, why don't you turn over to WWF and watch Mankind win the title?" And everybody did, and that completely they lost ratings that day, completely shifted the ratings war, and WWE won it. If you remember, though, that pop was huge, but what was the second highest pop in that? When Stone Cold came in and hit The Rock with the chair.
Yeah, it was insane.
him coming in and doing
Him hitting him with the chair was one of the best.
It was he flew across the ring out.
Jumped
It was
across the
great.
ring.
So that was my number 2. That was great.
My number 2 is a Hogan, not the one you mentioned. Can you take a guess at which Hogan I would have put down?
Brooke.
Hulk Hogan.
Oh.
But which one?
I
Which
pop for Brooke quite a bit.
Yeah, I know you do.
Lyndon, not too
I
bad,
don't know.
too.
The Raw after WrestleMania 18.
Okay.
People just went absolutely insane
okay,
when he
yeah.
fought Rock,
Yeah.
and he came back. I mean,
They
he got a
applauded
big
him for
pop.
like 15 minutes,
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah,
he?
and,
Yeah, that was-
it was
yeah.
nuts. He's just like, this is insane.
Yep.
He couldn't even talk. That was a good one. Just watching that. That's when you knew Hogan came back. He was Hollywood Hogan, and he fought Rock, which people thought they'd never see because of what was going on. And he was just, it was absolutely amazing to see what happened with him. So, number 1, Brandon.
So another return, Triple H, 2001, I believe, when he returned.
Wasn't it?
Was it 2002?
I think it's 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, sorry. 2002
Was
when
that
he
after
returned.
the quads?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first of the quads.
Yeah, the first one.
Because the other one tore when DX first came back.
Okay.
I think it was first. Yeah, the first when they first came back, 2006.
Is that when he tore him when he gave the pedigree or whatever?
Yeah,
At
Jericho
SummerSlam, wasn't it?
It was he was playing. It was Raw. It was Jericho. I think it was a tag team match. He did the pedigree. Literally, if you watch it on the network, you can just see it just shaking.
Oh yeah.
Right off.
Oh, God.
And then he told Jericho, "Put me in the walls."
What?
Yeah, I saw it on one of his
Badass.
things.
Yeah, badass.
He's
thing,
like, "Put me in the walls," and he knew like he was done. I mean, it was.
He's just
he
a
couldn't walk.
badass dude.
I want to hear what your number 1 is before I give mine because mine's awesome.
Mine is 2. Raw is Jericho.
Damn it, that was my number 1 too.
Number 1.
It'll always be my number 1.
Yes, it is always my number 1. It was so many when they had the original and you got the break the wall down and you see Jericho pop up on the Titantron.
But the craziest part of it is that even when his music hit, they didn't know until
And
he came out.
And they should know it's him. And the Titantron said
Well,
Jericho.
well,
and
it
he was
didn't.
standing
It
there.
didn't until it came up and said like the first start of the music was the one where it's kind of like his. It was kind of like the Rocks where they go through the city and they're still doing that, and then it's finally break the walls and everybody.
But that
pops.
was his music at the end in WCW. That's
Yeah.
why I don't understand. Like I look at him like, and when they saw the name, they're like, "Oh my god!"
No, I mean that was insane. I mean,
Absolutely.
and the best part of that is, and that was the biggest for me because one, I remember watching it live. I remember
Same.
it because going, what is it? I don't even know who this is, and obviously there's no internet, and being 8 years old at the time, you don't know. But that was absolutely amazing. And then of course with the Rock in the ring was just fantastic. They had a great back and forth, but if you go back and still sit there and wait, and that pyro hit still, it's like, gee, I mean, that had to be some of the loudest pyro ever.
Right.
It was insane.
And even his return in 07 or 08 when he was with Orton, he's like, "Look like your face has been hit with a frying pan."
Yeah.
And does that whole thing. His return there was huge.
Oh, yeah.
And anytime he returns now, he's that draw. Like when he came to All In, when he was in New Japan, any of that. Jericho is just a huge draw, always will be. I just listened to...
Well, the All In was amazing just because no one knew it was him.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
was the best part.
And I just listened to his podcast when I was on the road. He's got a great podcast. If you like rock and roll because of Fozzy and you like wrestling, he does a lot of stuff with that. They covered... The one I listened to, it was him and his bassist, I believe, with Satchel and Michael Starr from Steel Panther, which I love Steel Panther.
Yes, you do.
And they covered Van Halen's 5150 and their other album that was the last for the original lead singer and the first for Sammy Hagar. So pretty interesting. They were going back and forth to listen to that, and he just has a great podcast. And,
Yes,
and
he does.
I wish the Rocking Rager we could do it. It would be so fun for us.
That's like next week, isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's at the end of the month, and it's cheap. I'm like, man, if we would have planned this or thought this out, and when you see the card and the podcast they're doing and the people that are going to be there,
JR, the King.
DDP's going to be there, all these
Brandon could have
guys.
done yoga with him.
Right. Kenny Omega, he's going to be
Yeah.
there. Because he said, what was it, Kenny Omega, he called out, "See you at the Jericho Cruise" when he
Yep.
came into All In.
Yep.
So... awesome. I mean, maybe next year, they're going to do it again. We'll have to look at it for
Yeah,
next year, the
absolutely.
following
We'll have to
year.
see who's there.
We'll see if Jericho will give us a podcast show to do on
We'll
the
just
ship.
lie and say Stone Cold's on it, so Brandon goes.
There we
Yeah.
go.
There we go.
All right, so let's get into the biggest heat. Brandon, I know you only got 2. Do you have a third one you just want to randomly bring up?
I
or
was
no?
thinking of this maybe when Hogan turned and I became the third
Oh,
member.
God, that was insane.
NWO.
Yes.
I just thought about this right off the top of my head
Throwing
when you guys were
shit
talking.
in the ring.
Yeah,
I have
that
an honorable mention, too.
Yeah, that was pretty insane. I didn't watch it live obviously because it was 1995. I don't know what I was 9, so I didn't watch it live, but watching it on the network, watching clips and reruns and all that stuff. I mean, the crowd was just insane. I mean,
Throwing stuff.
Yeah, they didn't think he was going to be the third member, but so yeah, I'm going to go. Yeah, that's my number 3.
My honorable mention is anything Roman Reigns. I'm done with
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
All right, number 3, Bear.
My number 3 is your opposite of CM Punk. Cena at Money in the Bank in Chicago. He got booed out of that building in 2012. Go back and look that up. He gets booed out of the building.
I have that coming up, but I have it paired with another thing. But
So do I.
Do you?
I have another one coming.
Yeah. My number 3 is WrestleMania 30, actually, and it's a different kind of heat. It's silence when the shock of Brock Lesnar beating Taker. It's a different kind of heat. You can see the fans, the eyes, the crying, the nose, the everything. Different kind of heat, but he got a lot of shit for that.
Oh, yeah.
And but then, of course, they end the night with one of the biggest pops in history with Daniel Bryan. So that's my number 3. Number 2.
I'm going to go with what you just said, Roman Reigns, after he beat the Undertaker after WrestleMania in 2017. I think he stood there for, it must have been like 10, 15 minutes, and he didn't say a word.
You're talking about on Raw.
Yeah, on Raw. He didn't say a word.
Yep.
And he was just getting booed.
You're right.
And I'm going to go with that. No, that's my number 2.
My number 2 should be any number 1, but it was The Rock in Sacramento playing the Rock concert with the best line ever as he's singing, and he said, "I'll be glad to come back in May," or "I'll be glad to come back when the Lakers beat the Kings in May," and everybody just shit on him. It was amazing, and he loved it too. The best part of him just eating it up because he's sitting there and it's coming off the top of his head. And he laughs right before he sings it. And he goes, "Oh, wait, I got it." And then plays that. And, oh, man, that was amazing. And, I mean, the crowd is hot for that. He just gets destroyed.
And I forgot to throw in my other honorable mention. Recent, Elias and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
When we just talked about and covered.
Yep.
That was great. My number 2, I went back and forth. So it's actually my number 1 here. But I'm going to have it as my number 2. So it's 2 things. Both the same guy, Cena. What you said, Money in the Bank Chicago, but even worse than that, ECW against Rob Van Dam. Absolutely insane.
Okay, I'll just give you. I was gonna swerve you guys and I had a 1A and a 1B. My 1B was Cena at ECW.
Oh, it was nuts when he's just doing that like
FU Cena.
You can't wrestle
loud.
like everything.
Was it
Everybody.
like if Cena wins, we riot, and they were just,
everything.
Yeah, it was crazy.
He's just like, screw it, man, whatever.
Oh, it was great. Yeah, you gotta watch that because that was awesome. I mean, and every crowd chant is in sync, clear as day. You can hear everything. There's no cutting anything out of it on that one. And I don't think they do on the network either. I think they give it when they go in and say it's a TVMA when they do it because you can hear everything clear as day. It's wonderful.
Brandon, number 1.
Yeah, you're just calling out my mine. What you just said, the most recent one, Seattle with Kevin Owens.
That's
and
your number
Elias.
1.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
because it's fresh in your mind. I can see it.
It's fresh. It
was
was
nuts.
I've never seen something like that in a long time, and it was going on and on. It was like 15 minutes.
It was great.
I mean, I think I was texting you. And he made a rib on Seattle basketball, and Seattle's in the whatchamacallit right now to get a hockey team plus a basketball team back. They're going to bring back the Supersonics. So he just made a rib on him, and they've been doing it lately too. He just ripped the Seattle for their basketball team, and they just booed and booed for like 15 minutes, and I was just sitting there watching. I couldn't believe what was going on. So I thought it was awesome. So yeah, that's my number 1.
So my number 1, my 1A, I should say, is HBK in Montreal in 05. The first time he comes back after the screw job.
That's also mine.
This was August 15th, 2005, when he was a heel before he was going to fight Hogan at SummerSlam. I think this was the go home Raw before SummerSlam. Him singing "Oh Canada" and how much he hates this place, putting that in there. So you got to think, "Oh Canada, how much I hate this place." And he says Brett's going to come out, and everyone gets him. He's no, he's not, and everyone just shits on him.
He says, "You aren't getting Brett because I screwed Brett."
Amazing.
And then when he does the "Who's your daddy, Montreal?"
Who's your daddy? That's what he started off with, and everyone just
God, it was so great, definitely.
It was amazing. One of my favorites.
Yeah, see, at least Bear and I stay in line here in history on what was great here, Brandon. It's okay, though, buddy. We appreciate what you do here.
Do we?
I do.
I don't remember this. I don't remember that one in 2005. So
God,
I'm gonna have to go.
Well,
on
you
the
can
network.
remember
Yeah.
Stone Cold took a shit in '96 in Toledo.
Exactly.
I saw him in the Porter John.
No, I'm gonna have to go back and I remember that match, but it was
Yeah.
at SummerSlam. But I don't remember that Raw and him in Montreal, but I'm going to have to go back on the network and watch that.
Oh, gosh. It's so fantastic.
Yes, you will. It's good.
So, good show. I like this wrestling show. This one was fun.
Yeah, so if we, if you guys out there do have any show suggestions, pay-per-view suggestions, and we're talking any, WWE, ECW, WCW, we'll watch it, we'll discuss it, nothing quite in depth like they do on Something to Wrestle or any of those other shows, but we can definitely make a good show out of it and give our opinions and see what we think from a fan's perspective and not any insider's perspective. So, if anyone that's not Jason, Justin, or Jeremy have anything, hit us up on Twitter at OTL Sports Pod, Facebook, Over the Line Sports Podcast. Give us any suggestions you may have. We would love to hear them, and we certainly love to talk about them.
I agree. So hopefully we have a show
what?
to discuss.
We'll even throw in UFC cards. How about that?
I'm good with
anything. If there's
Sure.
MMA fighters instead of wrestling out there, we could do something like that too.
Sure.
I like it. And, there's so many things we could talk about. And, I would love to just kind of pick one now so then they can line us up the next 3 weeks. Brandon, you got anything that you're thinking of? Any particular card that you think it would be good to discuss?
Man, there's so many. I don't know. I'm blanking. There's just so much.
So Gary, I'm going to let you decide. I have two of them in my head right now. Both are my favorite pay-per-views of all time. Number 1 is Survivor Series 02. Number 2 is the first ECW One Night Stand in 05. So you get to pick either one of those, and we'll do that next week.
Well, ECW is a tough one for people.
They're both good.
But let's do Survivor Series
02.
02.
Okay.
All right, we'll discuss that next week. Watch it on the network. What was the main event in that?
That was the first Elimination Chamber. The one where Shawn Michaels wins with the brown tights.
Yes. Great. And, so Survivor Series 02, we'll cover that next week. Justin, Jason, Jeremy, and any other Jay want to help us out and get us stuff. Joe, Josephine, Josiah,
Jim,
Jimbo, Jerry, not Jerry Jones.
Johannes.
Johan.
Yeah, not you, Jason Garrett, though, you loser. You can't listen to our podcast until you get fired from Dallas, then you can.
Jeff Jarrett. Anybody.
Okay, do Double J.
We'll do anything there. Survivor Series 02.
Spend my days
working hard on the dollar.
on the go.
On the go, whatever. I don't know.
On the dollar?
On the dollar, the go, whatever.
Why did he say on the dollar? First off, I just want to know, why did you say on the dollar, Brandon?
I don't know. Apparently I have a bad credit score.
Oh, wait. Well, how is he going to get that helped out, Gary?
Well, he can go and talk to Cassandra at PNC. She will help him with his credit score. Also, Crandall's Quality Lawn Care can help you with your leaves in this fall season. Also, Verizon, thank you for what you do for us. And don't forget, of course, about All Wear Clothing, the first and official merchandise provider of Over the Line Sports Podcast. Brandon, have you understood that song yet? Do you know what goes on with Double J? Who sang that song, by the way?
It was Brian James and Double J.
Road Dog.
Yeah, there we go. Double J couldn't even remember the words during his Hall of Fame speech.
That's why he almost had Bruce do it.
What do you think, Brandon?
Day looking hard on the go. Hands on the clock, keep spinning too slow. I can't wait to be alone with my baby tonight.
As always, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night.
Brandon, did you get Blue Chew yet?
Glass of milk sounds delicious right now.